Tom Kozlowski here with you on 104.5 The Team and 104.5theteam.com. And joining us on the phone lines, he is the co-founder of eRecruitFit. Bob Arkeilpane joins us. And Bob, explain eRecruitFit and its impact on the recruiting and player personnel decisions at the college and professional level.
Well, Tom, first of all, thanks for having me on your show today. Really appreciate it. What my partner and I, Andy Hurley, have set out to do is realizing that there is a problem, particularly in college athletics, is we've set out to try to help improve the fit of prospective student athletes or high school athletes going into college, their fit into a particular environment. Because, we're aware, being in the industry as long as we've been, and statistics that are readily available, that right now the art of recruiting is failing about 50% of the time. So if for the student athlete and for the individual coaches and programs, we can do something to improve that, that's what eRecruitFit is all about.
What was the inspiration behind eRecruitFit?
As I mentioned, we've been in this industry, both Andy and myself, probably combined for nearly 60 years as student athletes, coaches, athletic administrators. It was my partner really who was working with an individual coach who came to him and said, even with our budgets, which are relatively small for this particular school, we're finding kids that, A, have the ability to come here and compete. They're prepared academically to compete, but for whatever reason, at the end of their freshman and sophomore years, I'd get too many of them are coming in and they're wanting to leave for one reason or another. So he asked Andy what we could do about it. We set out to look at that problem. Andy actually spoke with some people around the Cincinnati area that were in the business world and asked the question to them, what do you do to recruit and, better yet, retain your best workers? And many of them, in fact, probably close to 75% of Fortune 500 companies today, use some type of an assessment on the front end. So our inspiration was maybe we can take that science, add it to the art of recruiting, and do some things that are helpful to student athletes and, again, to coaches and athletic programs.
Tom Kozlowski here with you on 104.5 The Team and 104.5theteam.com. And joining us, he's the co-founder of eRecruitFit. Bob Arkeilpane joins us in. Bob, what makes eRecruitFit different than other recruiting services around the country?
Well, first of all, we are, to the best of our knowledge, the only service that offers this type of assessing and is recognized and certified by the NCAA. So to even be in this business at the college level, you've got to meet a certain threshold. And unlike assessments that you've probably heard of, the Myers-Briggs, the DISC profile, etc., our assessment, which is called the PSA inventory, is descriptive like the other assessments that I talked about, but it's also predictive. It can actually predict how an individual is going to behave in a particular environment. So the fact that it's descriptive and predictive is unique. The fact that we're certified by the NCAA and been approved to do businesses with colleges and universities is unique. And I would say right now most people are relying mostly on subjective data when recruiting. This adds, as I mentioned earlier, some science to go along with the art of recruiting, but it's objective as well.
You brought up your relationship with the NCAA, and sometimes when it gets to that high school level, a lot of shady things can go on. It's almost an unregulated world sometimes of what college coaches and others can do and maybe not ever get caught. Should the NCAA, because of the problems they're having in some situations, mandate eRecruitFit to be a part of this recruiting service?
Well, that's a good question, Tom, and it's really, that's not one I can really answer in terms of mandating, but we have worked closely with the NCAA. They've been receptive. We've spoken at length with Oliver Luck and some of his people, and like the NCAA to do is just to help us make the assessment more accessible. Right now, the assessment is offered to high school students 16 years and above at no charge to them. People can go to our website at www.eRecruitFit.com to access the assessment. And if the NCAA were to make it part of their eligibility center and at least offer it as an opportunity to prospective student athletes, that would go a long way. And when more students are filling out the information, completing the assessment, not only are they getting an 8 or 9 page report that talks about their behavioral characteristics, they can become more self-aware. It's a great tool for their parents as well when they're offering young people off to college for the first time some advice. But it also would make that information available to college coaches, possibly giving that student more exposure. But the big opportunity is to maximize the fit between the student athlete and the particular coach and that coach's culture. We just think that would be a terrific thing.
The co-founder of eRecruitFit, Bob Arkeilpane, joins us here on the phone lines on 104.5 The Team and 104.5theteam.com. And Bob, you played a high level of college football. I played at Division III. And when you look at these recruiting services, sometimes the people that use them want their respective athlete to reach the highest level they can, but sometimes ability level, that just doesn't happen. Is eRecruitFit focused on a Division I level, Division II, Division III, or is it any level and their goal is to just get those athletes to play at the collegiate level?
Well, to be honest, it's and that's a really interesting question. To be honest, it's focused at any level that offers financial aid, because when you talk about 50% failure rate, what that means is it's not only good for the student to come into that environment, but what you start to think of the money that colleges have invested not only in the recruiting process, but when they're offering financial aid. And in today's environment, more and more schools are going to a 4-year guaranteed scholarship. So when they make a decision on a young man or a young woman, that can be a $200,000 decision. Well, if on top of that, what they're paying in the tuition, room, board, books, and fees, you've got the recruiting costs that go along with that. You're getting students in there that are utilizing time at practice and academic advising. And when those young people do not succeed and become juniors and seniors, that's a lot of money that program has not optimized as well. So when you think about, I know with your athletic background, you understand that the great programs win with juniors and seniors. You want to have the ability to get those kids all the way through. That's when you're going to maximize your success. But you mentioned Division II and Division III, and I want to make a comment on that as well. The important thing is really not so much what level a young person competes at, but that person gets into an environment where they can thrive. And I know you were a football player at Hobart.
I was, yeah.
I know from talking a little bit before the interview, we talked about that being a great fit for you. And that's something you can look back on. You were able to prosper academically as well as athletically, and you did that because you were in a culture and an environment that you were comfortable with. And so it is important at the Division I level and to programs where they can maximize the dollars that they spend. But the real importance is to the young man, young woman who end up getting in an environment where they can thrive and prosper.
Bob Arkeilpane joins us here. Let's get you out of here on this. If you could say 5 years from now, your goals for eRecruitFit, where do you hope the services are 5 years from now in 2021?
I hope 5 years from now, it's kind of standard fare that all high school prospective student athletes are 16 years and above are taking the assessment. They're becoming more self-aware. That information is made available to colleges and universities, and we can maximize fit. Furthermore, the assessment should be used at places like Hockey USA, Soccer USA, AAU camps for basketball players and volleyball players, making it available to all young people that are looking to go on and compete at the next level. that would make us all very happy.
He is the co-founder of eRecruitFit, Bob Arkeilpane. And Bob, we will both be rooting for the Syracuse Orange football team this fall. Best of luck with eRecruitFit, and best of luck for the Orange this upcoming fall.
That we will, and go Orange. And Tom, I really want to thank you for your time this afternoon. Look forward to crossing paths in the future.